Hi, I'm Bridget Riddle and we're the Nuclear Ninjas. Here at Nuclear Ninjas, we pride ourselves on safe and efficient energy that does not cost nearly as much as traditional energy and is better for the environment.
I'm Maddie Goger and we're the Nuclear Ninjas. So for the environmental impacts of nuclear power is the most environmentally friendly option because it produces fewer greenhouse gas emissions by not producing carbon dioxide or using fossil fuels. And this leads to a reduction in the exploitation of fossil fuel reserves, which is great because these resources can be saved for other purposes. So Finland uses nuclear power plants and they emit 6 million tons less carbon dioxide than the United States using fossil fuels does. This is great for human health because there's less air pollution, so it's easier to breathe, and there's less respiratory problems and diseases for the people.
Nuclear energy is created by the splitting of uranium atoms. This process is called fission. This generates heat to produce steam, which is used by a turbine generator to generate electricity. Because nuclear power plants do not burn fuel, they do not produce greenhouse gas emissions. The nuclear power process is essential across multiple industries, such as consumer products, food and agriculture, medicine and scientific research, transport, water resources, and the environment. The function of many common consumer products is dependent on the use of small amounts of radioactive material, such as smoke detectors, watches and clocks, and non-stick materials. Nuclear generation is the only source of electricity that can produce a constant supply of power.
Nuclear energy is energy released by a chain reaction like fission or fusion. It uses fuel from uranium to make steam and generate electricity. It is also one of the cheapest types of energy, and it is also one of the fastest. It has a very high capacity factor, and the system cost for nuclear power is very low compared to other renewable resources. For nuclear power, the capital cost is usually around $6,500 to $12,250 per kilowatt, and according to LCOE, it is usually from $112 to $189 per megawatt hour.
The busbar cost of a power plant is determined by four things. Number 1, capital costs of construction, including finance costs. Number 2, fuel costs. Number 3, operation and maintenance costs. And number 4, decommissioning and waste disposal costs. System costs for nuclear power are very much lower than for intermittent renewables. Prior to the actual construction of a nuclear power plant, the review process itself will typically take 3 to 5 years before the U.S. government decides to fund the reactor and the research behind it. Now, if a terrorist attack were to take place to said power plant, the damage would be more minimal than you'd expect. One may expect a giant explosion, when in reality, the studies of a 1970s U.S. power plant show that in a highly populated area, when assessing the possible effects of a successful terrorist attack, for it to actually cause both a meltdown of the core and a large breach in the containment structure is extremely unlikely. This study showed that a large fraction of the most hazardous radioactive isotopes, like those of iodine and tellurium, would never leave the site, therefore rendering any terrorist attacks useless when trying to cause an explosion on the site.
In conclusion, nuclear ninjas should be invested in because nuclear power is very environmentally safe, efficient, and safe for people, and it's going to be revolutionary for the future.